Hello and welcome to A View from the Cab. And what I want to talk about today, again, I think I've covered this before, is the driver's CPC, the driver's certificate of professional competence, which sounds great, doesn't it? It's for bus and truck drivers, so PCV and HGV drivers, that we all have to do in order to. It's just another thing, another hoop for us to jump through. Now, somebody commented on my one of my videos. I can't remember which one it was now. It was the truck driver video, the truck driver shortage video. And this person, he said, yeah, well, I didn't need a CPC. I've been driving trucks for 30 years, never needed one. Yes, I can get on board with that. But I think that the idea of refresher training for all of us is a good thing. I think the CPC is a good idea, but for the wrong reasons, because all the government brought it in for, and let's be fair and honest about this now, was simply to make money out of bus and truck drivers. That really was all it was brought in for. It wasn't with the idea of, oh well, we can get these blokes, or we can get these drivers. I shouldn't just say blokes anymore, because there are lady truck and bus drivers too. Apparently only 1% of truck drivers are women though. I read that as a stat the other day. It's a good thing. I think we all should have refresher training. But the trouble is, if you've never been on a CPC course, for bus drivers, for bus drivers, it's just a case of show up, sit down, say nothing. You don't have to participate. You don't have to do anything at all other than attend. It's just attendance based. There's no quiz at the end. There's no pop quiz. There's no exam. There's no questionnaire. You just fill in the forms that they give you with your name, your address, your driving license number, and so on. All the important stuff. And then you literally just sit there. And if there's a room of, say, 20 staff, 20 drivers, if you're doing house training with your own company, which I've done in the past, you'll just sit there and hope that nobody asks any dopey questions or goes off on a tangent, because you just want to sit down and just get through it. I mean, I don't know what it's like for HGV drivers. I would guess it's the same. But the trouble is, it's just, like I say, it's a good idea. We should all have refresher training. But the trouble is, I did driving hours and tacho regs 3 days on the trot, because we had to cram it all in because time had lapsed, because there's no real... the thing is, you're supposed to do 7 hours a year, which totals up to 35 hours over the 5-year duration of your qualification. I mean, last time round, I ended up, basically everybody in the company ended up having to cram it all in, because come a certain date there'd be no staff. So there's no regulation on, you've got to make sure you have your 7 hours per year every year. It's just a case of, as long as it's done before, as long as you've done your 35 hours before your qualification runs out, you're good to go. And that's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. And the fact that you could do driving hours and tacho regs 5 times in 1 week and that qualifies you, I think it's a nonsense. I know each company can pick what they... I mean, one of the last modules I did was vehicle defects. A vehicle, so how do you check a vehicle? What do you do to report a defect. How do you spot a defect? This is what you should be looking for, you know. And that was informative, that was helpful. I would say that was a good use of 7 hours, you know. Vehicle defects, that's useful. Every firm can focus on different aspects of what they particularly want to look at. So if a company's got a problem with vehicle defects, they could do that 5 times if they wished. And I think that's a bit wrong. I think there should be not more regulation, because we're regulated up the wazoo as it is. I think there should be more focus on actual refresher training, as opposed to just charging drivers, you know, because you have to pay to have your 7 hours, and then you have to pay to have it uploaded into the system. Depending on what company you work for, they will pay, and you know, it's all different. But as long as the government gets their money, they don't really care who pays for it. You know, you could steal a charity box off the counter of your local paper shop, and they wouldn't care as long as it adds up to the right amount. They don't care, you know. It is just a money-making scam for the government. That's basically all it is. Oh, well, you've got your CPC qualification, you're good to go. Yeah, but all I did was driving hours and tacho regs. I'm going to drive a vehicle with a great big bulge in the tyre because I don't know what to do, because I've not, you know. So it's all a bit, it's a nonsense, to be honest. It's a good idea for the wrong reasons. If it's not VOSA anymore, is it? Is it DVSA now, isn't it? Who oversee all that, I think. I'm sure it is. Anyway, whoever oversees the CPC should be monitoring it better, so that our training is more regularly spaced out, rather than say, crikey, you know, you've got 35 hours of training to do and like 10 days to do it, you know, because that's ridiculous. But as long as the government still get paid, they don't care. So it's a good thing, but in my mind, it's just purely for the money side of things. It's for the wrong reasons. There's no real focus on actual driver refresher safety training, which, you know, in my mind, if you've been driving 3 years, 30 years, 100 years, refresher training for me, it can only be a good thing. Keeping up with new regulations, keeping up with new rules, even if you just sat there and thumbed through the highway code for 7 hours, you know, as long as there's a quiz at the end to prove you've been paying attention. I'd flew once, and I got my wife to phone up the company, because it's all in-house. I said, can you do me a favour? I said, can you just phone them up and tell them I can't come in and do this CPC? I said, and I was just a snotty, sweaty, teary, dribbly mess, and I could barely string a sentence together anyway. So she said, yeah, that's all right. So she phoned up and she said, look, you know, he's in no state to come to do this course thing today. He's going to have to keep. And the person said, well, can't he just come in and do it? All he's got to do is sit in the corner. That's it. It's all he's got to do. And I knew that's all I had to do. But my wife said no. She said he's a snotty, teary, dribbly, sweaty mess that you don't want to be anywhere near. So it'll just have to keep. You know. But that was the response. Well, can't he just come and do it? All he's got to do is sit in the corner. Yeah, sit in the corner for 7 hours when you've got the flu, and you know, you're blowing your nose every 5 seconds, and all you want to do is drink copious amounts of Lemsip. You know. But you know, so that's the way I see it. Refresher training is a good thing, in my opinion, my humble opinion. You know, I think we can all gain from, you know, from brushing up our skills and talents every so often. So there we go. That was my opinion and thoughts on the driver CPC. Thank you for watching. Take it easy out there. I'll catch you on the next one.